Hi, my name is Brian Pareschi, and I'm here today doing the Macaluso Trumpet comparative playtest. I have been living in New York since 1996. I'm a commercial jazz lead trumpet player. I do all sorts of types of work in and around New York City, playing big bands and small groups and Broadway shows and commercial and television, film recording, touring with various groups. Probably one of the benchmarks or guideposts of my playing and my style of playing is that I am pretty versatile. Now, that doesn't mean I can do everything, but I do fit into a lot of different situations, and I'm very excited today to try Chuck Macaluso's new trumpet. His trumpet, this is the File 32.05 trumpet prototype, and a few weeks ago he contacted me about playtesting his trumpet, and I'm very, very excited to do this. I've heard about it through a colleague of mine, Tony Kadlick, and he was speaking volumes about it and how great it plays, so I'm super excited to be here doing this. This is a real treat for me, and honored that he asked me to do it. So I play a Bach 72 lightweight medium large bore trumpet. It's raw brass and it's a medium large. The mouthpiece, I play a Monet. This is a Monet BL81. It's one of the early Pranas, and it's got a, for those of you that are interested, it's a 23 throat. And just so you know, I haven't played a single note on this new horn, so you're gonna get my complete raw reaction to it. I'm gonna try playing the instrument from the bottom, not to the very top, but I'll try to get 3 octaves anyway. And I'll just play some different things, scales, arpeggios, on my horn, and then I'll try the other one. All right, one thing I can notice immediately, I'm just playing open fist on the bottom of the instrument. The movement between the partials is super crisp. It's clearer than on my Bach, without a doubt. Without having said anything else about anything else, I played 4 notes, and I can tell you that much. I don't know, sometimes we use the term junk. Like when I would study with various players over the years, they would talk about when you did exercises involving the partials on the trumpet, try to get rid of the junk between the notes so that you're moving perfectly clearly. Now, I do that with various degrees of success, but I will say right off the bat, without hardly playing anything, I played 10 seconds, the movement, at least on the bottom partials, is super crisp. Yeah, it's super, super clear. Yeah, the slots for all the notes are very, very clear. There's no... One of the things I was told is that the instrument it plays very in tune, and it does. There's such a tendency to move things around when you know your instrument that I'm making an effort today to try not to do any type of manipulation at all. So I'm just going to play the instrument and blow through it, and so far it's fantastic. it's definitely got a a freer response and a much more clear movement between notes. It blows different than my horn, so I'm you know, that's the thing about trying horns. I can tell that in general that it's more locked in on the slots on the instrument are more locked in. All right, so it has slots. It has definite slots on all the way through the register. I just have to get used to them. But yeah, even the double C, D. I mean, those aren't easy for me to get all the time, and I'm getting them. Yeah, it's very even. It's very even blowing all the way through. Um, it feels like if you just relax into each slot that's built into the instrument, it will give you the note. You don't have to manipulate as much. Yeah, yeah, it's nice, very nice. Now I'm going to go back. Actually, I'm going to take a second here. A lot of blowing. One of the things I notice immediately about it, it's very even all the way through. A Bach isn't totally like that. You have to finesse a Bach and figure out, you know, it it has a personality, and you have to figure out where it gives you more easier and where you have to sort of, you know, certain notes are out of tune. I'm not hearing that there's anything really out of tune on the notes. I don't know. I don't have a tuner, so it's hard for me to tell. But it feels very clear all the way through. One thing that, yeah, the slots. So some trumpets, when you play them, they slot very well, and they're even. Some of them you have to create the slots, especially as you go into the upper register. The partials get so close together that on these instruments you know, that's why a lot of people, they'll sit and they'll play a double A, and, well, how do you play your double A? I play it open. Oh, I play it with 3. Oh, I play it with 1 and 2. Oh, you know, because they're trying to find the best way to find the slot for the note. It's rare to find an instrument that has a slot. Now, a Bach has slots, but sometimes they're squirrely. They're hard to find, and if you can figure out where they are, you're fine. But this instrument, they're there. They're already there. You don't have to, and that I'm not used to. I'm not used to, I'm used to digging around or trying to finesse. So there's some of that going on for me. I'm just not used. I'm not used to it responding the way it's responding. So this doesn't require. I have to back off a little more on this instrument than at least my Bach. I don't have to blow quite as hard. That's one thing I'm noticing. If I just back off 10%, 15% on the blow, don't try. You're not trying to blast it against the back wall. If you just back off, the instrument will give you the note and it'll speak. That's just the difference in the horns. But it's nice because if in terms of being efficient too, like if you can save 5 or 10% on blowing, let's say a note in the staff or a note at the top of the staff, if that saves you 5%, it doesn't seem like very much, but you compound that over playing for a few hours, and everything in general is just 4 or 5% easier. It's a massive difference, and it shows in your endurance and in your pitch and your ability to find everything that you need. And then as a result, your confidence goes up. And as we all know, playing trumpet is such a confidence game, especially if you're playing lead trumpet. You have to know where things are, but part of knowing where they are is you have to know that you know where everything is, right? So it's a bit of we always say it's kind of a mind game, but it's a mind game, but it gets subdued by preparation and by practice. So as we get more comfortable playing on an instrument and figure out where everything is, and we know where those things are, we don't spend so much energy trying to find things or not, and as a result, our confidence goes up, and it's just easier to play. So it all kind of goes hand in hand. But an instrument can add and contribute, or it can detract from the ability to do that, to execute that process of having confidence in where everything is and where it sits. This is definitely, from just the first few minutes here I've been trying it, it's definitely easier to find notes. I can't get the G, but so what I just was doing now is I was trying the instrument, playing extremely softly, seeing if I can still get those partials out, and I can, and they're right there. So that tells me that the slots are all there, everything is there, and it just comes down to how much volume or velocity of air, the air column you put behind it. It's there. The slot is there. You can play it softly. You can play it super loud if you want. The challenge is developing your armature so that you can do both, but the trumpet has the ability to do that, which you cannot say for all trumpets, not even close. So that's pretty remarkable. A lot less work. So one of the things that's happening for me is that playing between the instruments, I'm blowing into this instrument the way I would blow through the Bach, and the Bach, I have to do more to get it. So part of adjusting to a horn this seems like it's more efficient on every level, is that you can't overblow the instruments. You can't force things out of the instrument. In volume issues, like when you think you need to play louder to get more volume, but it's really more about centering the pitch, centering the tone, and putting a nice even column of air, and the instrument will project. The instrument projects fine. You don't have to blow the roof off the house. You know, it gets out there. The sound gets out. So anyway. So that E flat is always flat on my Bach. This one, I didn't even, so I was figuring it was going to be flat, but it's not. I just go and I go right up and I play it, and it's there. So this is definitely, one thing I can say is especially from like the break, or at least I notice it. It's the case all the way through the instrument, I'm sure, but from like G at the top of the staff up to at least D, E, or F, somewhere in there, all those notes, on other instruments, like the E, on a Bach, the E flat is flat, the E is flat, Fs aren't too bad on that. But these, like, just doing this. So that would not, I'll show you. I'll show you what happens on this one. The E flat will be flat as a pancake. Well, it's not as a pancake, but it's flat. It's also a little squirrelier. It's kind of like, so the difference, if I were to visualize the difference between these horns, the note on a Bach, I don't know how to explain, but the way that the slot feels like this, but it's a wider slot, but it moves more. So when you play, there's more. There's different places you can place it, and this one, it doesn't do that as much. It's like if you just trust it, it goes note, 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 and you're not moving it around too much. You don't have to. I'll go try something else. Yeah. So yeah, it's. I even noticed that when I played in the bottom fifth of the instrument. Clear. They're a little clearer. They're clearer and they're more centered, right? So going up is fine. Coming down, it's a little fuzzy for me. A little harder for me to find that low C. I can find it, but I'm doing things to find it. And I do it all the time. There's little adjustments you make. That's what it is. That's a remarkable difference. that I didn't even hardly, you know, as trumpet players, we were taught to, various ways of looking at it. We close the aperture to make notes go higher. Some people say move your jaw, some people say arch the tongue, or it's combinations of all these things. Uh, just now, I wasn't doing really anything. All I did was increase the velocity of the airstream, and it jumped pretty clearly up to the next partial. That doesn't happen usually. That almost never. I mean, usually it takes a little more than that. So that tells you something about the freeness of the blow. I'll show you here again. See if I can do it again here. Yeah, even octaves. Yeah. So there again, I would reiterate that the response is crisper, and it's requires less effort than at least a Bach. I'll put it that way. It's super. It's very free blowing. It doesn't require quite as much air. Now, some people say, "Oh, that's a tighter horn." I don't know if it's tighter. It's also probably more efficient. It's not necessarily tighter. It's just that you're not wasting any of the air column. It's sort of just like the note is hit. It's all on the note, and then you move to the new note. Anyway, all right. Blowing resistance in the high registers. Yeah, this sort of goes hand in hand with the previous thing. Let me see if I can demonstrate. Well, let me go back to my other horn. Resistance. So that blowing resistance in the upper registers, basically referring to how much resistance you're feeling as you play up there, whether it's resistance against your armature and muscles, or resistance against your air column and your diaphragm. Like how much effort is it taking to do that, and how much is the horn pushing back against you? All right. Let me see. Now, this is pretty open, but I'm doing a lot of work. I can feel if I kept doing that, it just takes more work for me, which isn't always a good thing. Those are way clearer. Yeah, some of that is just fatigue, but it's easier. It's just easier to move. There's less resistance overall. The Bach just requires more air. Any adjustments we have to make to pitch, it requires effort. It's work, and even if you're playing by yourself. So I'm not adjusting anybody else. So one thing that I notice is that I have to do more work on my Bach. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of articulations and attacks, and check it out as far as that goes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so octaves are easier, much easier. That doesn't surprise me. If the slots are easier to find, the octaves are going to be easier. Yeah, I just have to back off a little bit on this instrument. Oh, I gotta stop. Take a break here. Yeah. Yeah, this instrument is, it's you have to relax and just, it lets you know when it's got enough. There's a finite amount. You start overblowing the instrument, and you lose those nice motions between the slots, and you lose those centers. You're just forcing things. You just have to. There's a sweet spot, and that, in essence, that's forcing the player to also be more efficient, right? This is the crux of playing a brass instrument. That's the great hill to climb. Yeah, you can really lean in on the bottom too. It's nice. Okay, so that, as far as articulations go, super crisp, super clear. Now, there's a certain amount of air in that sound. It'd be interesting to see if the same is the case here. It's very, very clear sound. It's a very it's uniform, but it has room. You can change the timbre on the sound. It's not like it blows just one way, and that's the only way to get the sound out. It allows you can back off of it. You can add air to it. You can add vibrato. You can do. I mean, it allows for that. It's not, it isn't going to limit you to only, you got on or off, note, no note, note, no note. It's not that. You can ease into things, you can inflect. It has the ability to do all that. So that's part of the response quality, and it's the aspect of it that, you know, we're always taught about articulations, but this is the other part, the other side of it, where you're not trying to get a super clear articulation. Maybe you want to inflect into a note, maybe you want to add some air into a note, maybe you want to bend a note or be able to put a little something on the note. You can do all of that too. So that's huge, because so much of what we do, especially if you're involved in the jazz world, is you have to be able to play with some type of personality or character. In general, I'm comparing it to a Bach medium large. So obviously, if you're playing a different instrument, it may have a slightly different comparison. But as far as what I'm experiencing, it blows more freely than a Bach. It's the slots are more pronounced and clear. Movement between partials on the instrument are super crisp. That's hard for me to sort of get my head around. I'm used to having to do a little more work for that. In the upper register of the instrument, through the break, you know, like from F at the top of the staff up to high D, let's say, or even E, the notes are really in tune. They're much more in tune than my instrument here. And as far as the blow of the instrument in general, the biggest challenge is learning to not overblow the instrument. Part of why we overblow is because we think by doing more, we get more, but it doesn't always work that way. There's an efficiency quotient, like there's a point at which adding more gets you less, you know, and as you can see, as I demonstrated earlier, you can blow the doors off if you want to. You can play a high G and you can just completely, it'll sizzle for you, and then you can back off and play a soft ballad. You can put some nice warm centers into the instrument. You can play with vibrato. It responds well to inflections. So it'll give you motion between the partials and the slots in the instrument, and then it will allow you also, it's not tight in the sense that it won't let you move up into them if you want to. It gives you that ability. So those are some of the general things I've noticed about it. It plays amazing. It's very free blowing. It has a beautiful sound. It also, the biggest thing I'm noticing overall is the pitch. The two things I'm noticing are the pitch as you move through the range of the instrument, and the other thing I'm noticing is, like I said earlier, the motion between partials on the instrument. It's just clearer, crisper. So overall, I would say that this instrument, you can do pretty much everything on it. I think you could play any kind of music on this instrument. It's super, it's going to force you as a player, sort of, it'll force you to be more efficient, and it will force you to play evenly and to have an even column of air and an even blow, because it doesn't want you to do anything else. It doesn't want you to, oh, I got to do this when I go in this part. Oh, I got to do this one here because, oh, it doesn't speak as well. It isn't that. You have to basically sort of retrain yourself from all the manipulations that you do on a lot of other instruments. Now, Does it do everything that my Bach does? No. The one difference is that the Bach takes more air, and that's a that's a that's a change. Uh, Better, worse, I don't know. It's whatever you want, but it. But along with that, there's more play. So when things are looser and wider and whatever, there's more room for error. There's more room for things to slop around, and this doesn't. This doesn't do that. So one of the things I was discussing earlier was that you sort of have to learn. You have to sort of learn how to play it in the sense that you have to develop the trust that the instrument is doing a lot of the things automatically that you used to think you had to do yourself. I guess that's the best way to put it. Yeah, okay. I know what that is. Yeah, so one difference between this and my Monette is that this is without knowing anything about the specs on this, I would guess that the throat is tighter on it, which is good. So what that does is this mouthpiece it opens up, and there's not as much resistance. You sort of have to create it here. This one has resistance built into the mouthpiece. I can feel it. But it's sort of, if you're not able to, or you're getting tired and you're not able to hold the armature in on something with a bigger throat, it'll get away from you and you'll spread. I can tell it's not letting me spread as easily. I'm obviously been playing for a little while here, so I can tell that it holds the note, it holds it a little more. It doesn't let it get away from you. All right, I just wanted to put something behind it and see what it did. So that, I mean, you don't need to play any louder than that ever, and that's probably too loud for most situations. But so that's a G. It wasn't. It felt pretty comfortable, and it got bright. I could feel the edge had like a sharp. As I increased the velocity, I could feel it getting sharper. I was playing them soft before, but if I just put something behind it, it gets brighter. Wow. Yeah, I'm not used to this. Yeah. Anyway, you can find something good in that. There's a lot of something in my playing there. Yeah, I'm just not used to this, but it's good. This is a nice mouthpiece. You can hear like once you find it, it's. Yeah, so there again. So I took one hand off just to show that I'm not applying a ton of pressure. So for me, as you can tell, I'm not used to it, but once you find it, it's all there, and it's the effort. I'm not killing myself. I'm sitting there, it's not. Yeah, with a little practice and a little getting used to it, I could make all that happen much better. But so I'm playing a B with 2 softly, and there's actually a spot for it. That's not always the case. All right, that's good for that. All right, so let's call that.